Please rise for the pledge. Good morning, everyone. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, good morning, everyone. We have an exciting evening here. Once again, to honor people that have voted in many elections, in some cases 50 and 60 years. So we're going to, we have a bunch of things on our agenda. We're going to kind of consolidate the agenda so we're not sitting here for a long time, so we can get to that festivity time and have a little coffee and donuts and celebrate those great accomplishments. So the first item I have on the agenda, though, is any public comment or questions concerning today's agenda. Seeing none, we'll just move to motion to recess the Commissioners meeting, hold the retirement board meeting.
Motion. Second.
Motion and second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Retirement board. Motion to hold the meeting to order. Motion to approve the July 17, 2023 agenda.
Motion. Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the June 21st, 2023 minutes.
Motion. Second.
Motion and second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Under new business, motion to approve refunds of contributions to employees no longer with the county. We have 3 individuals listed.
Motion. Second.
Motion and second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the following deferred retirement of 1 individual listed.
Motion. Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the following retirements. 2 persons listed.
Motion. Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the following invoices for payment. Corn Ferry, $5,410. Beyond Investment Advisors, $45,181.24. Roadridge Matrix Trust Company, $12,245.05.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve updating authorized signers for Beyond Investment Advisors contract.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn the retirement board.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to reconvene the Commissioners meeting.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the July 19, 2023 agenda.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the July 5th, 2023 meeting minutes.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the July 12, 2023 conference minutes.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve payment of general funds in the amount of $391,048.83.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, under personnel, we have 7 items listed. Can I have a motion that we just approve the 7 unless there's any questions about any one item?
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion to recess the Commissioners meeting to hold a salary board meeting.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to convene the salary board.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Could I have a motion to approve numbers 1 through 2, let's see, all the way through to 10 on the salary board?
That'd be 2 through 10.
2 through 10, I'm sorry. Yep.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn the salary board.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to reconvene the Commissioners meeting.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Under all business, the first item on here, we're going to have a motion to table the awarding of the, bids for the Springbrook Road Rattlesnake Creek Bridge Replacement Project for Rutledge Excavating for the base bid of $1,212,253.40. So we're going to table
Until the next one issue.
till the next, which would be August 5th.
No, August 2nd.
August 2nd, sorry.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Okay, motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item is the motion to open bids for Bennett Avenue, but we have no bids.
Record reflect we have no bids.
So we'll just re-advertise it for sometime in August.
What's that work for, Matt?
That's work for the renovation of the Bennett Avenue project, the old former PennDOT facility.
Right, but what's the work? What's the work that you're bidding on?
Interior renovation.
Interior renovation.
The work is done, right?
The roof is done, and we have a bid for plumbing and partial work, plumbing and electrical. We never got a contract for a general contractor yet. So we're just gonna have to wait and put it out to bid again. It's amazing everybody's so darn busy that they don't even have time to bid on the project. This is a fairly large project down there to renovate that building into the Department of Transportation and also Human Services. So we'll just have to wait and put it out again. And hopefully we'll get somebody next time. Okay. Next item we have is under new business, motion to appoint Janet Ginzinger to the Pocono County Workforce Development Board as private sector member for a 3-year term effective July 19, 2023 through June 30th, 2026.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next items under new business are numbers 2 through 7, which are all contract service agreements for children and youth services. These are yearly occurrences. These are all services that children and youth must provide. We just have to renew all the agreements. So,
Can I review them one as okay?
okay.
I'll make a motion for those joint items.
Okay, so
Second.
I have a motion, a second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 8, motion to approve the following human service payment vouchers on behalf of the Office of Human Services, Human Service Development Fund in the amount of $402 and fair in the amount of $5,619.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to authorize the fiscal year 2023 second quarter payment from the Pike County Emergency Medical Services Matching Grant Fund to the following municipalities: Palmyra Township in the amount of $58,000, Delaware Township in the amount of $53,750, Milford Borough in the amount of $10,000, and Porter Township in the amount of $8,000.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we go to miscellaneous. As every month we have, every meeting we have the Penn State Extension calendar of events, just for the press and the public to see what they're doing over there in that little office. And the next item we have is the back to school event, July 21st, 2023. Michelle Burrell is here from Children and Youth Services. Michelle?
Hi, good morning.
You're on.
Oh, wow, good morning, everyone. This is just a reminder that we are doing our back to school event this Friday. It's going to be at the Ann Street Park, which is, we call it the Ann Street Park. Is that West Catherine Street back there?
No, it's actually the other side of Ann Street.
Oh, that's
We prefer to call it Ann Street Park.
So we're having that this Friday. We're giving out approximately 100 backpacks to families and children that need it. The backpacks will be filled with school supplies. These supplies, as well as the backpacks, were donated to us from local churches, from a nonprofit organization in Monroe County as well. In addition to that, though, we also invite the community providers to come out. So they're going to be there as well with their tables. They're going to be handing out information to families as they come through. And the objective for that is just for families to learn about services that we offer within the community. So drug and alcohol will be there. Someone from mental health will be there. So families come through, they're getting school supplies, backpacks, as well as information for services that they could possibly need. So it's a good event. Come on out.
What time is that?
From 1 to 4, and it's a free event. Thank you.
Michelle.
Okay, the next person on the agenda is Jill Gamboni from Joe Adams' office. Jill?
We are doing a concealed carry seminar and a Castle Doctrine seminar about concealed carry guns and Castle Doctrine. The district attorney for Pike and the sheriff will be doing that for us. That's August 17th from 6 to 8 at Dingman Township Park. If anybody's interested, I do have flyers here.
Okay, we'll see if the press gets those. Thank you, Jill. Next we have is Elder Justice Day, August 22nd, 2023. Tracy? In the Aging office?
Good morning. For those who don't know me, my name is Tracy Simon. I'm an elder abuse investigator at Pike County Aging. And I'm here to promote our Elder Justice Day on August 22nd, which will be our 9th annual. And it will be held at our Matamore Senior Center, which is at the Matamore Firehouse on Avenue Q. This year our focus is on self-care and cybersecurity. As many of you know, COVID left a large amount of our senior populations confined to their homes, away from their activities outside their homes, away from their families, medical care. Many seniors fell into a pattern, began limited socialization, and we'd like to get those seniors back out in the community and have them recognize the symptoms of self-neglect. And we're going to educate them on what can be considered self-neglect, not taking your medications as prescribed, not going to the doctor, maybe living in a home that has safety hazards, fire hazards, lack of personal care. So we will have vendors there as well to talk about self-care. We're also focusing on cybersecurity. During COVID, we saw a huge amount of people who were scammed through their computers. I can get you your COVID vaccine quicker than anybody else. I can get you your stimulus payment quicker than anybody else. And more seniors ended up using computers and advanced technology during COVID to get their groceries, to meet their needs, and people got smart. So now you're sitting on your computer, this is Microsoft, you've got a virus. Click here, I'll call you. The next thing you know, your entire investments from your bank are gone. We had, this year, we had 5 cases, which totaled over $1 million in money that was scammed. They will not get that money back in 5 cases. They wiped out 2 people over $500,000. Yes, move your money here, we'll protect it. Or they threaten people. We'll call and say that you have pornographic material on your computer if you don't send the money to us. Go buy Home Depot cards, Apple Pay cards. The best thing I can tell you is if somebody's calling you asking you for your personal information, it's probably a scam. You calling somebody to provide information is probably more truthful. So our speakers this year will educate seniors in the community on how to identify those cyber threats and how to keep your finances secure. And just to give an idea, I began working for the county in 2014, one case manager for the entire county, do investigations, and I was under the director of Robin Skipper, who retired. We are now 3 full-time caseworkers, a part-time caseworker, a supervisor, and last year we investigated 316 cases. My first year, it was 83. Last year, it was almost $300,000 allocated for services under protective services. So personal care, transportation, emergency housing, emergency payments to nursing homes, medical bills, on call. We're on call 24/7 responding to these. We've had a 300% increase in our budget in 3 years to help serve seniors. So I hope anybody who wants to come out, please register. There is free breakfast, free lunch, free transportation, lots of vendors. It is inside this year, so air conditioned. I have flyers. If anybody has any questions, you can reach out to the office and ask for myself, but we'd like to see a large amount of people come, usually about 125 come plus about 50 vendors. So.
Any questions for her?
Oh, good.
Thank you, Tracy. I think it's important that we have these, but it's just as important to realize that the seniors are extremely vulnerable to this, but so are all of us. We hear stories of this all the time.
You're a senior.
Oh, yeah, right. We all. All right, people younger than us have the same vulnerability because they're very convincing on the phone and make people believe that they should be giving this information for different threats. So we urge the community to make sure that they're aware of who they're dealing with when they talk on the phone. There's many calls that we all get on a daily basis. And the next item we have then is Nadine, you're on. This is the Voter Hall of Fame, which is a very exciting event for us every year.
It is.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Nadine. I'm the Director of Elections. This is my assistant, Shar. She's our Chief Registrar. And Shar was actually the one that did most of the investigation to determine who was eligible to be receiving the certificate from the governor today to be entered into the Voter Hall of Fame. So in order to be eligible to be entered into the Voter Hall of Fame, a voter had to have voted in the last 50 consecutive elections without missing a single one. And that is quite an accomplishment. We all know life gets in the way, things come up. But the list of names that we have here today and the people that we're going to acknowledge have not missed a single election in the last 50 years. When I call out your name, just raise your hand. Shar will bring over your certificate from the governor. Contrary to popular belief, the elections office does work more than 2 days a year. So it is really my honor and my privilege to be here today and honor people, that have taken part in our democratic process for the last 50 years. We work hard to provide secure and fair, honest elections in the county, and it's just truly an honor and a privilege to be here today. So when I call your name, Just raise your hand. Char will bring your certificate over to you. The first person on our list is Ella Eggenberger, 68 years of voting. Congratulations. Thomas Pfeiffer, is he here today?
I'll take it.
Okay. Even if they're not here, they deserve a round of applause. 54 years.
He's at a baseball game in
Baltimore.
Surprise.
Well, he didn't miss this, but he hasn't missed voting, so
That's right.
And the rest are all 50 years. Patricia Navarro, are you here today? No, we're gonna give her a round of applause anyway. Robert Mead. Congratulations. Betty Riggs. Sandra Smith. And just a shout out to both Sandy and Betty for many, many years. Betty was one of our poll workers down in Matamoros, and Sandy we actually honored for 14 years of being the judge of elections in Green Township last year. Jim Whitaker. And Gregory Yetter. Congratulations. As I said, we work hard all year long to provide our voters the best experience, whether you're voting by mail or voting in person. And again, congratulations to everybody that got this award today. Yes.
We should all learn from a generation that really understands how important it is to vote, and especially my favorite voter here. My Aunt Ella.
Nice.
Well, when we're done here, we would like to get a photo with our Voter Hall of Famers, and we do have coffee and donuts in the back. We hope you'll join us for that.
That moves us to press and public comment.
The Spring Road Bridge, that keeps coming back. I see now where the bid is pretty expensive, it's over $1 million. So what's the problem? What do you want
We're
to
working on the
do?
easement agreements between the property owners.
Neighboring property owners.
So there's different easement agreements, we just need to get into place. We know the number was gonna be in that range. It's a big deal though. That bridge is 1916, so it's time to be replaced. So
I was looking on the map, it's a dead end road, right?
there's a housing development back there, right?
At the very end.
Yeah, Springbrook Estates is at the end of it. There's a number of homes in there. There's only one way in, and that bridge is very important to those residents. If you're those number of residents that live in the back there.
How many?
I'm going to say there's probably 50 or 60 homes back there.
Yeah, right.
That's Digna Township?
Yeah, the beginning of it in the front is Shahola, but the bridge I think is right on might be right on the Digna line. There's also a quarry back there. So there's
Yeah, I saw that.
there's a quarry on the right-hand side.
Right.
Yep.
Several miles long, about 4 miles in, before you get to the private development, which is a private road, but
Yeah.
the rest of it's all public.
Yeah, there's a private development when you first get in past the bridge on the left-hand side, and then when you go all the way to the end, you end on the township road ends, and it becomes a private development, Springbrook Estates.
So it's a township road, but a county bridge.
County bridge, the first section of that road, a small piece of it is a county road. That's Old Owego Turnpike,
Oh, okay.
part of that. So the county is responsible for a short piece of that road, and the bridge came along with Owego Turnpike. We tried to give the bridge a couple of times to the township, they have not. We offered some money, we did this, but they never slowly came.
So,
Scam call.
any restrictions because the bridge is so old and blah, 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 like fire departments or?
Not right now, no, the bridge is wide enough, it's a single lane bridge. There's no trouble with getting equipment across it right now. But it's an old concrete arched bridge, and it's, I don't want to even talk about what could happen to it, because it would be a detriment for that to happen. This happened, if you remember, a number of years ago down in Lehman Township, where a truck hit the side wall of one of those concrete bridges, and it was the only route into the hunting camp, and it turned into be a big dilemma, and actually drove the price through the roof, because now we're emergency repairing it.
So this number could stay that.
Oh, yeah, we're just trying to get all the easements agreements in place, that's all the solicitor was
So this
referring
is the only bidder too, right?
to. No, I think there was another bidder.
It's acceptable, but we need to make sure that we can get the proper easements before we want to have them start, because once we commit the bid, we have to pay.
Right.
There's two bidders.
There's two bidders, yeah. So this is from the $5 registration fee money.
Right. That'll cover that?
Oh, yeah. And plus, if you remember what we did with the $5 registration fee, is we went out and we took out a bond towards it. So we were able to bond some of that when bond rates were so inexpensive, and we were able to bond another $5 million. So the $5 registration fee actually turned into about $7 million worth of construction fees, because the state gave us $2 million worth of matching funds.
I was trying to take a picture up there, and I put Springbrook Road over Rattlesnake Creek, and what it did was send me up one side of 84, turn around and come back, and I was supposed to take a picture of Rattlesnake Creek.
Yeah, they changed the name of the road years ago from Rattlesnake Road. Wasn't good for sales.
That's it, that's all I got.
Hey Matt, yesterday in Bushkill, in Monroe County, LVHN opened up a new medical facility. Obviously, you guys have, this has been something that's been important to you here in the county. Can you comment on that and then kind of give us a Northwell update?
I'll take that.
Yeah, Ron did the Northwell, it's kind of the connection between them and the county. We each take our own roles here.
So this week, and I think most people know, we formulated a foundation to raise money for when we hope to build a hospital in Pike County. And that is on the way. And the first steps are putting 2 urgent care in place. Yesterday we got renderings of the urgent care that is down at the Wise Market in Delaware Township in Dingman's. That is very impressive rendering of it. Within the next 2 weeks, they'll be hanging their sign on that facility, and a couple months later, they'll be opening that facility as they get bids to retrofit the building for that. The next property is going to be up on where I live. They're not doing it because I live, because Bob Mead lives close. That's why they're doing it. But the next one will be on the 507 Route 6 corridor up there, and that property has been identified, and they'll be visiting that property in the next 2 weeks to put that lease in place. Following that, we hope to build a small hospital, they call a mini or micro hospital, on our Blooming Grove property, which is right in the center of the county, and not only because I grew up there and Donna lives right there, we're not doing it for that reason, but because it is a direct center of the county. And I think everybody knows that we use hospitals surrounding the county, and depending on where you live, you go to the closest hospital. This will cut that time in half because we're putting it in the middle of all those hospitals that serve us currently. Northwell has made a commitment to us to have a facility up and running within 3 years. We know things take time. We're hoping that that's the case, and we're working with them to come up with the further details. But they are also working with a Pennsylvania hospital at this point to partner in that joint venture. And what we see, and for people here that most know it, the facility that opened in Dixon City and the new facility that just opened that you just talked about is a prototype of what we hope to build on the Blooming Grove property. The Blooming Grove property not only is the center, but it's the one place that we have sewer and water. It will be the county's gift to this company that's coming in to give them the property with utilities, and they'll sign a long-term agreement because we believe that there's no higher priority than to improve healthcare services in the county. So that is an update. On September 20th, we are going to have kind of a kickoff meeting with the foundation. And by that time, we should have renderings of the facility. We should have a budget in place and begin the fundraising process, because I think we all know that if it was viable and profitable for a hospital to be in Pike County, there would be one. It's not. It's not viable, so we find that we have to contribute it. Matt has said on a number of occasions, nobody's coming in here to do this. We need to do it. And we'll be very involved with the fundraising efforts to make sure that the Northwell facility is viable and sustainable, even though they're the largest employer in New York State and a vastly larger organization than any hospitals that we know of in Pennsylvania. So it's a large organization coming into here. I've said this a couple times, why are they coming into here? All their executives live on Lake Wallenpaupack.
So a couple of follow-up questions. The property that's up at Blooming Court, you see you giving this to them, are you going to cede ownership to them? Are they going to get that property for, to own?
We leave that up to the legal mind, but our thoughts always was it would be a long-term lease. Basically, and I'll just, like a 100-year lease, it's basically giving them the property, but we would always have control of it. But there'll be some, obviously that's a bit down the road there. There'll have to be some discussions of, we give you this, and what are you giving us? So there's got to be some long-term commitment from them. That's the whole idea of forming this foundation, as Ron just spoke about, is that not only come to them with land, but come to them with money and say, okay, here's the money to help you succeed, because we know that these type of ventures are extremely expensive, and it's going to take time for them to make this into a profitable type of business. But we also have to look at this as the future of Pike County, because the population just hit 60,000. I don't anticipate that population is going to go down. We can only anticipate the population is going to go up. And it's just going to put even more stress on our already stressed EMS services, which have to drive long distances out of this county. So there's another component to it. If we can get someplace smaller or a facility closer, I'll call it 24/7 ambulatory service, those ambulance calls that are in that region of Pike County will not be going all the way to Stroudsburg, won't be going all the way to Wayne in cases, or all the way to Port Jervis. In many cases, out of service for 2 to 3 hours. So that's our commitment with the land, but it will be a long-term lease is what I envision, but I'll leave that up to the two legal minds to, this is not the first time that that's been done to allow somebody to use property up there.
What's the Pennsylvania hospital that's getting?
Well, I was going to mention that just to add on to Ron's report. We expect one of the reasons why we're going to have the foundation meeting in mid-September is Northwell's indicated to us that they intend to make an announcement sometime in the next 60 days approximately. And so we don't want to jump the gun on them, because there's an actual agreement that we believe is in place already, but they want to make an announcement at the appropriate time. So
I'm sorry, an announcement about
who that partner is. We really don't want
so
that.
we will be, hopefully we intend to be able to say that on September 20th to the board and then to the public. The other thing is Medical Foundation that was started, my colleagues here along with Steve Guccini, my predecessor, took $2 million of recovery money that the federal government gave us. Altogether, Pike County got over $10 million, but they took $2 million. Said, we're going to keep that there just for medical services. They could have spent it on lots of other things, but they dedicated that, and that's the kickoff money. So even though we haven't gotten any contributions, well, one I believe, we already have $2 million in that account. And we hope to grow it to at least $10 to $20 million. We're already talking to federal and state people. In fact, we met with some of them just yesterday, Casey's office, personnel and all, to say if we can get at least $10 million of private money, hopefully you're going to help us go to that next level.
Okay, last question. This sounds great, but we've had medical facilities here and then they left, obviously. What happens if, worst case scenario, they come in, you give them $2 million or $10 million or whatever it is, and then in 2-3 years they say, this isn't working, we're hemorrhaging money and we're leaving. Is there any kind of clawback?
Yeah.
What are we looking at here?
Yeah, I think, so there's two parts of the Medical Foundation, and one part is going to be a capital campaign to help whoever's coming in Northwell to build the facility. The second part is going to be a sustained drive that will, like every hospital organization, nonprofit. Northwell is nonprofit. As large as they are, they're still nonprofit, but every hospital has a fund that helps them sustain as well. I think we all know right now, hospitals around the country, it's a very challenging field to be in to make it profitable. So our thought is to build a foundation to have grants available so that they can sustain. You make a good point. I think there's a good reason why some of them failed in the past, and one of the reasons is I believe they were in the wrong place. Putting it here in Milford, where there's not a lot of population, right next to a facility that's just over the bridge into New York, probably wasn't as viable, and they also could not accept all insurances. That led them down a path to fail here. That's why the coordination of a relationship with a Pennsylvania hospital will help with the providers and health insurance providers to make sure that they take all insurances. Putting it in the center and putting it in a population base, there's this urgent care going in Dingman's on 739, a large part of our population, people have a hard time believing this, lives on the 739 corridor because they're all behind gates. When I go to meetings, when I was on the board at Lane Memorial, I said that Hemlock Farms has a larger population than Homestead. They thought that I was being a politician in line. That isn't a lie, that's true. Hemlock Farms is a large community, as is Wild Acres, Sunrise Lakes, and all of them. You can drive down 739 and not see any homes, but it is the largest population area. So. They won't fail. We won't let them fail.
We also have a big company coming in. Northwell is the 5th largest medical provider in the United States. So the idea that they're going to run out of money is not likely. And the ability, they actually said to us, when we first talked about the urgent cares, we said, you know, we have this $2 million that's been earmarked for medical services. If you need that to get the urgent cares going, we can give you some or all of that. They said, no, hold on to it for your bigger plan. We don't need that. We can afford to lose $1 million a year, is what they told us, for 2 or 3 years at least. Now, does that mean that they're going to want to keep losing money? But they've grown to the place they are already because they haven't lost money. They've been able to manage that, and that's helpful, you know.
So then I'll let you go, just to follow up on it. So the one thing that's important here, we didn't solicit them, they solicited us. They came to us with a study and said, we think this will work in your county. There's a report that we have that must be that thick, that they did a whole analysis of medical concerns in Pike County. And they came to us and said, this is what our plan is. It wasn't the other way around. We were kind of forcing them to come into the community. They're coming here willingly. In fact, in some cases, when we sat here in amazement that they were, realizing that there's money to be made here. Maybe not today, but certainly into the future. So it's very, enlightening and exciting to think that there's a company like this and others that they're looking to partner with that believe that Pike County is an open market for them, and we can only benefit from it.
So the partner that Ron was talking about, that's a Pennsylvania hospital?
It is.
And that will be revealed in September?
They will do that. We're allowing them, because they told us that they're in the process of doing it.
We know, but we're not going to tell you.
Right. We're not going to do that.
Why is it important to have that?
Insurance.
Yeah.
And also staffing.
Staffing, recruiting.
They felt recruiting was the #1 important, and then the acceptance of all the insurances was secondary, very important. But I think we know that recruiting doctors in a time when there's a shortage across the country is very challenging. So having somebody that's already in Pennsylvania to recruit licensed doctors and nurses is important to them.
I think it's also gain recognition for the residents. Well, we have a lot of people that are relocated here from New York that recognize the Northwell name. And if you live in this part of Pike County with our TV, maybe you'll see lots of commercials on the New York networks from Northwell. Yeah. And at the same time, there's people that have lived here a very long time that have no recognition of who Northwell is. But by them connecting with a known name in Pennsylvania, it makes everybody feel comfortable that, we have a company here that, we recognize this company and other groups recognize others. And there's a lot of commuters here that go to New York every day that probably are in the Northwell system. Because that's where their insurance is being, right? They're being insured by companies that are out of New York State and New Jersey, or I should say New York, where Northwell is enormous. Tracy?
Yeah, just to add to that, and we're very happy at the aging office for a smaller hospital to come because part of our investigation, we look at their medical. Our people have to go usually out of county. So then we can't follow those cases, especially if they go to New York. So we're at a disadvantage for serving seniors who are, been abused, neglected, and need medical. We struggle to find those doctors to assist us with our seniors. So with this in place, we hope, to get a relationship. So when we need somebody to have an evaluation to say they're safe to remain in their home, or, we need to know, like, is this person, do they have a medical diagnosis that they're not able to manage? Can we put somebody in there to help them? Because at this point, our seniors are going to Wayne Memorial, they're going to Lackawanna County, they're going to Port Jervis, and guidelines for the Department of Aging, if they go over to New York, we can't follow them. So we're out. Like, if they go to the hospital, we're not going to see them at a hospital. So now we're relying on not only another state, but another county to go and say, your resident's okay, but most people think they're safe in a hospital. They're safe. What happens when they come back to our county and we don't know they came back? So by working with, right, so by working within our county now, we'll probably get a better relationship with the seniors too, and to help those that haven't been identified as being, a victim of some form of abuse or neglect, because we're going to have hopefully that relationship with them.
The last thing I'll say is, I can't say this anymore, this has been my shtick from day one, but we are the only county currently of the 67 Pennsylvania counties that doesn't have either a hospital or an urgent care. I won't be able to say that anymore, so I'm sad, I guess. No, I'm excited to not be able to say that anymore. And we're the fastest.
We'll find something.
It's an exciting time, and there's no bigger priority for us than to accomplish this. And when we're done here in 4.5 years, we hope to leave the county in a place that is in a better spot.
Are you saying that this is going to be your final term, Ron?
I'm not going to say it. Yes.
You're on camera.
Thank you for answering the question.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Motion to adjourn, coffee and donuts.
Motion?